Yo, what's up, Flow family? Thank you for joining us today. It's a little bit rainy. You might be inside. You might be thinking about what you want to do outside or tomorrow, but I'm excited that you're here with us for the second episode of our second season. We're still in our rest series. And look, I put it on Facebook. I put it on my personal page and the group page if you're on Flow and said, it's going to be a little different. I promise you. We're going to talk about this in a different type of light. So let me bring out my people, Sim Petty and Vondo. What's up, y'all?
Hola.
What up? What up? What up? So we're trying to push new things in this new season, and so we have a new segment. I look, you guys. There's a man behind the scenes. There's a voice behind the scenes. He brings us fresh stuff all the time, and this one copies off of a trend, or sorry, I should builds off a trend that many of you are familiar with. So let's talk about red flags. Run it. All right, look, if you're watching us again, if you are part of any type of social media, you familiar with it. So get your red flag emoji ready. We're gonna round off on red flags for the church. Let's go real quickly. All right, I'm starting off with you, Sim. Red flag for the church.
Red flag if the AY leader is 50 or older.
Ooh, Vondo, red flag for the church. What you got?
I'm gonna piggyback off of that. If they excuse that by saying that they're young at heart.
Ooh, here's mine. If I walk into a church and somebody says the word Introit, red flag for me. We're past those days, y'all. Come on, let's keep it going. Sim, what else you got?
Red flag. Oh man. Red flag for the church. And I'm gonna have to steal yours when you walk in and you're walking out at the same time. That's how small the church is. You walk in and you're on the rest. You walk in and you're on the rostrum.
A red flag for me, honestly, like seriously, if there's no children's story. You ain't got no kids, nobody tell a story to.
Wow, no. Here's one. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. Red flag for me when somebody walks up to me and says, I remember when you were such and such. Red flag for me now. Nope, we're past those days, ma'am. Keep it moving. What?
If you have a way for me to pay my tithe digitally, that's a red flag.
Ouch! Yes.
So you only have a tithe envelope.
Yes.
Yeah, if you hand me a tithe envelope,
I got you. Here's one. I'm pulling up. I hope nobody knows where this church is. Red flag for me is if your parking lot has gravel or grass. That's a red flag. Okay? No, thank you. We're past those days. Okay. Let me, instead of building for the church fund, we need to have like a parking lot pavement fund. No one's doing that.
What do we need much? We already have the gravel. We just need something to bind it together, you know?
Now, people may not agree with this one, but a red flag for me, if the church does not have church juice, y'all know what the church juice is. If you don't have it,
wrong with that.
If you don't have it, I don't know. It's a bit suspect. Maybe I'm spoiled from my home church.
You're definitely spoiled.
Yeah,
I also don't go around drinking church juice from any and every church. I gotta be there for a minute. I gotta know who made it. I gotta watch you make it.
Red flag for me is if your first elder is also your digital ministry leader and also your Pathfinder director and also that's a red flag for me, y'all. Just gotta be honest. I'm sorry.
See the head deaconess who is also list off 6 other jobs. Wow.
Come on. Oh, wow. I gotta shout out my producer who said red flag if you have potluck during COVID. Right? Like we're not doing that.
Wait a second.
You can have this bulletin back.
Red flag for me if you have printed bulletins.
If you hand me a bulletin to be
who's doing that? I'm handing it right back to you.
Now, if I haven't visited a church in 10 plus years and it's the same person, that's first elder and on the organ and on the piano and head deaconess, I'm looking
flags. Red flag.
No one else is capable of those positions. No.
Mercy. Yo, I hope you guys drop some red flags, whether you're going to be watching us live or you're watching on the playback. Let us know what your red flags are for church. Another wonderful segment. So keep it rocking with us. All right, Alex, let's move into the body of this. Okay, so we started off with rest, and we were very candid and very honest about the reality that, like, we're all tired. Let's be honest, we were tired as a team, and really, I feel like as a community, because we had done a lot through Zoom. we had all had our backsides glued to some seat for far too long. Our couch seat, our computer seat, our bedroom seat. We were just sitting. And so I know the team and I needed a rest. Oh my gosh, I just read the chat. Oh, that's a good one. Um, and so we were honest, right? We decided to say we are going to take a break to come back and bring it fresh. And so we talked about rest last week and just knowing the signs of it. But let me be honest with you. Today we're going to talk about how to reorient, right? Because sometimes when you're trying to go for the goal, you need to reorient yourself, right? Because you get off track. But things have happened this week that have made this topic a little different for us. So if you are on any type of social media at all, you may have come across any of these. I think it's two topics that come to mind. First is a basketball player who has been going back and forth with the sports pundit about vaccinations. That may be on your mind. How do you reorient when your thoughts are a little skewed or different from the commonplace? If you're on social media at all this week, you may have also come across a comedian who has been shifting the conversation about what funny is today. Ooh, somebody's already stewing. And just maybe you're like me, you're a comic book geek, and you heard that the future of our Wakanda nation may be at risk because of thoughts or rumors about an actress. So, how do we reorient when we've had one thought, one direction, one perspective, and things come up and change that? So, to my fellow hosts, Vondell and Sim Petty, I want to kind of just say, where do you guys want to begin? Which one stands out to you the most, actually? Which one of these particular topics had you reorienting yourself just a little bit?
So I'll begin. You said none of them or all of them?
None. I said none.
None?
So there was no reorientation for you at all. Nothing changed in your perspective, your thought patterns when you saw any of these particular things. Oh, I gotta hear a little bit more about that.
It shifted my perception of the person, not necessarily of the issue that they are talking about.
Okay, that's a reorientation.
So yes, but not of the issue itself.
Which one are you willing to talk about or share?
You know what? This one is not the one that irritated me the most, but it's one that feels stupidest to me. So I'm gonna start with the basketball player, simply because like I don't know. And yes, you don't sell your morals, whatever it is for money. However, you gonna look me in the eye and turn down more money than half of this world has ever seen in their life, because you quote unquote want to make a stand over something that. Like I don't know. I like when it comes to that, I'm just like, I don't think it's the hill you want to die on, especially if that much is at stake, simply because of how, I'm assuming it's the entire NBA. It's not just this one team. I could be wrong. I don't know much about this. But if you decide not to, do this for them, where are you going to go? Right? Like you can't just, let's go to another team. They're going to tell you the same thing. So are you just never going to work again? What's happening? Have we thought this through? I have questions.
I think that's one of the things, though, is like, when people have a certain amount of money, they do what may appear to the common man or common woman as stupidness, right? Like they feel they are really making a point here. And from what I understand, it's like, well, I'm doing this standing up for those who have lost their job. Okay, but the average person who decided to leave their job because of the vaccine mandate, they're going to have to be out looking for work elsewhere in order to make ends meet eventually, even if they have that Dave Ramsey 6 months, saved up. You, my friend, you could chill for the rest of your life and your kids can chill and you'll be good. So what point are you really making to the common person? You could have taken that money and be like, I'm going to give it out. Come to Brooklyn, meet me on the corner of Atlantic, and and I'll give $100 bills. That may have made a bit bigger of an impact.
So for you, the pivot in thought was what you feel is how impactful his approach is to
who he's supposedly standing up for.
Yeah, to the wider cause.
Okay. Here's the thing that I go ahead, Vonda. My bad.
No. I was just agreeing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting about this, and I think all the topics, is what do we focus on, right? Is it exactly what they say? Is it why they say it, or is it from which platform they're choosing to speak from? Because with the
Which
basketball player,
platform being
well, like, so the basketball player has a specific platform as a basketball player of one of the best, or that's a biased statement, one of the most popular cities in all of America, right? Like, if the Brooklyn Nets didn't have, well, that kind of highlights it, but if if this city's team didn't have him as a player, his platform may not be as big as it is. But it is because he plays for this city. And so my thought is like, what are you really trying to push and why? Because I've heard two different things. Is it your personal stance that you don't believe what's in it and all these, that, and the third, which is another thing, y'all. And we said this in our pre-production meeting. If you have eaten from, well, I'm gonna go with my cousin. If you had eaten from any vendor on the street corner, you can't talk about vaccinations. If you've eaten from any Chinese store in the city, you can't talk about vaccinations. If you've eaten from any 7-Eleven or other gas station, you can't talk about what's in the vaccination. You've put stranger things in your body than what is potentially in the vaccination.
Pretzels on Fifth Avenue, ice cream from Mr. Softy the first
light
day of
dusting of
spring.
smog and who knows what else is on their hands.
But it does speak to this idea, though, of our reorienting, right? Because they produce content and they put out thoughts and perspective that have had a lot of people shift about what they feel. And we've seen that shift even within the NBA. Go ahead.
I would also like to say, of specifically on the topic of vaccines or whatever it is, the reorienting of the fact that this is an argument, right? Like I keep seeing things like, I don't know, flashbacks or pictures from when polio was like murking people, and everyone lined up to get their polio shot, very proud, held up their card, happy as clams. And it was a no-brainer because it was like, together we can defeat the evils of polio. And now it's like a divide. Like half of I mean America, because most of the world is not having this argument. Half of America is like, we have the right to die and to take some other people with us. How do we get here?
I think it's, and I forgot who I was having this conversation
Not
with.
we have the right to die and take some other people with us.
But I think it's not even about science at this point. I think it has become an issue of politics and not wanting to feel like you're aligned with the other side that you're supposed to be against. So people stop using common sense. Now, let me be very clear on this. You choose to take the vaccine or you choose not to take the vaccine, that's on you. That's on you. I'm not calling you any names on any side. That is completely on you. But a question I do have, and I'm hoping someone out in YouTube world, someone out in Facebook world can answer this for me. There are people who are claiming taking the vaccine goes against their religious or biblical beliefs.
Someone help
and
me.
I'm talking about outside of my realm of Adventism, some in as well. Shoot me a message. I need to know where in the Bible you're holding, like, I just need to know what you're using as your stats. Seriously asking.
Yes,
Seriously
I am
asking.
with you as well, because outside of, what is the group? It's Jehovah's Witness, right? Like, outside of that group, whose complete biblical or religious standpoint I am very unfamiliar with. I'm talking about Christians, right? I'm talking about Episcopalians and evangelists, and I'm talking about we can't take this, yada, yada, yada. Here are two things. Because the actress that I talk about, I believe that her stance is from a biblical standpoint. I'm not sure where she's holding it from, but I think it is from a standpoint. Some of these evangelicals who are like richer than Pharisee rich, right? Just for the reference, these are people that they can say they're not going to take the vaccine, but they're also not around the common man. They also have enough money to take the concoction that sees you not have to get on an event. And maybe this actress falls in that category as well. But there is this kind of, I feel like I'm talking down a point that I wanted to not talk down. There is this kind of caution about your platform and the proliferation of your information. Like it does. That's why I said what I said. They have a right to express themselves, right? But their expression causes some reorientation within the common person because some of us aren't seeking out alternate information.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the backward sides of this, right? Like I don't care if you have a platform, but you're not necessarily like encouraging people to really see all the information. You accuse one side of being absolutely biased, and then you show your side, and you're like, "Well, mine is true because I definitely think theirs is not."
Yeah, that's not doing anything. So yeah, I'm putting it out there. If anyone could tell me what Bible text they're using to back their point of not getting the vaccine, I honestly want to know. Tell me what I'm missing, because I know I read something the other day and it was like the head of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, like came out with like, yeah, as a religion, as a denomination, there's nothing with the vaccine. Like, don't put anything on our letterhead. Don't say
Who is the head of Christianity?
The
like
Pope,
Isn't that Catholic?
Catholicism technically.
Catholicism is a part of a sect of Protestant Catholicism, but many heads of various denominations have come out, and faith-based groups have come out and said there's nothing from like the overarching standpoint with the vaccine. So if you do it, you're on your own. Like, don't put my name, don't put my name on it.
I don't know if you saw Sim in that chat. Appreciate the Facebook our watcher. Thank you for watching us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Who put this out there? I guess there is some information about the fact that there are fetal cell lines used in the vaccine. First of all, we have got to seek out information about what's actually in this vaccine. I will say
that does not mean believing whatever scrolls across your feed on Facebook.
Oh, let's hold on. Let's talk about how to reorient yourself when you see wild stuff on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. But to the thing, like as I was saying this because I had to take trainings for my license in DC on the various vaccinations that talk about what's in it. And here's an interesting thought, right? Because you can say that, well, why would you believe them and not others? My thought is it's more about considering what has a likelihood of being valid information, right? The CDC or Jim, right? It's possible that Jim has worked for the CDC.
Barely passed 8th grade biology.
It's possible that Jim is, an upstanding citizen. It's also possible that Jim is somewhere in the deep South in a very small room, surrounded by flags that don't necessarily represent things that you would agree with, typing from his computer about these things. I go back to this post. There are some people in this world who were just contrarian, right? Who just, if you say A, they absolutely have to say 1, not B, right? Not C. They have to say 1. I say this as somebody who enjoys sometimes just being contrary. I do. Get your information, right? And be mindful, because these type of things cause people to reorient and shift. People are losing their jobs, which is my pivot here, guys, with you all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making it about the fact that the government has mandated this vaccine, right? Here's what's wild. As we talked about on our pre-production show, there have been other mandates for vaccines that you ain't fighting against. Do you want smallpox? Tell me, do you want to be in 2021 and tell your boss, I need to take off a couple of days because I have smallpox?
Did you know that there was a resurgence of measles in the United States somewhere up north?
Yeah, I believe it's the same community that is against.
Yes,
because a whole group of people was like, nah, we're not taking the vaccine. We literally eradicated the measles. Why would you bring it back?
Do you know that the same group of individuals have a summer camp? I saw the paperwork myself. And if you were vaccinated, you were not allowed on the property.
So let's talk about the deeper implications here, because we are a Christian-based show. It is kind of linked to what you talked about, right? This idea that, and people use this information and say it's found in the Bible, but where's the scriptural foundation?
Where?
Like, if you are encouraging the shift, again, using this word intentionally, this reorientation in thought, right? Saying that people are going in one direction, and they need to realignment. Give me something in the Bible to stand on. And this is going to sound very Adventist of me. And for those of you that may not get where this is coming from, you may get it when I say it. I need context and also multiple scriptures to support this. Okay? Like, don't give me the second part of a verse, right? That is connected via semicolon. And that's a part of a parable and be like, well, this is what God meant. I need you to help me understand because people are dying from this. People are losing their jobs based on one stance or another because we're not really exposing ourselves to not only, dare I say, the Holy Spirit and his leading, but really deep and full breadth of information.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, cuz?
Oh, and here's it. I think one of you said something along the lines early, but just the people that we are basing our reorientation very broadly, our reorientation off of are people who can afford to make the choices that they make, right? If Beyonce decides that she doesn't want to take the vaccine, she can do that
and live in a bubble. She don't have to ever see you or anyone else.
Nobody ever, like, she's not gonna have to worry about getting on the subway and the man next to her not wearing a mask and coughing distressingly. Okay, she's not gonna have to worry about walking around Manhattan. She's not gonna worry about getting on a regular plane with other people, like going into a regular job. And Beyonce could stop working 10 years ago and be fine for the rest of her life, Blue Ivy's life, the twins' life, their children's life. Like, we cannot base our reorientation off of people who are leagues away from us. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stay with Kyrie and quit my job. I don't need this. Kyrie be all right. How you paying your rent this month?
Yeah.
There's the first point that I think we need to highlight when thinking about, honestly, this concept of reorientation and how it honestly can impact your perspective and your rest. I think the big thing when knowing which direction you're going in and where you have to reorient is know where you are trying to get to, right? What's your end goal? For some individuals, like if being gainfully employed and in a position to secure your family, before you reorient and just say, well, I'm not going to do this because they're mandating it, like really figure out, will this help you get in that direction? And if you choose to reorient, make sure you have a means of getting there. So know where you're going before you reorient, to make sure you're going in the right direction. Let's pivot a little bit to, we got a comment. Let's check this out. It says the NBA is following state mandates for the most part. Only Cali and NY have a mandate like this. With the whole Kyrie situation, the Nets GM laid the hammer down and said he doesn't want a part-time player, which is fair. His team wants to win a championship, and his dare I say, holding them hostage with his choice.
Mm-hmm.
Is he entitled to his choice? Yes, but that doesn't mean everyone will agree, which is an excellent pivot to our next point. This is a hot topic item. The comedian that has literally put the Twitter fingers of so many at work. There is a whole community of tongue-in-cheek, sensitive individuals who believe in rainbows, unicorns, cupcakes, lollipops, and all other things pink, fluffy, and exciting. Sorry, everyone who are listening to that intro. I saw a comment pop up. I just want to make sure we're catching all the people that are choosing to, just to give us feedback in the comments. Please, Alex. Here we go. Please, those who are teaching that the COVID-19 vaccine is the mark of the beast, please stop.
That's a whole other conversation. That is taking orientation to the next level. And I think it goes to the point, Rob, of like, we need to be mindful of how we reorient ourselves, right? When we are resting, what is it that we're truly trying to rest from? And what is our goal once the rest is complete? Right? What is that pivot that we are trying to accomplish in reorienting ourselves? Because if we're not careful, we may pivot from one piece of madness,
right, to
reorient, and end up in another
out of the frying pan into the fire,
right? Because we aren't careful of what it is we're doing and what we're spreading and how we can affect or infect those we come in contact with. So that's a good point that
Yeah.
person has made.
And to that comment too, I also think it is about knowing what you know, right? I'm a big fan of that, right? You got to know what you know and what you don't know. Some people definitely take information without saying like, you know what, I'm not fully like I don't fully understand this. Let me actually go and research what this is. And research isn't, oh gosh, I feel so old, y'all. In this day and age, I get that research is a Google search.
It is not. It is not a Google search.
Hold up, Sim. I know we on the same.
Okay.
Look at multiple articles, right? And dare I say, I go back to our library days. Look at articles that are scholarly written, right? That are supported by some measure of publisher. And if it is an online website, how long has the website been in play, right? How often do they update
sources, all that good stuff.
You know what I'm saying? Like, check your sources, y'all. Because in this world, everyone has access to platform. Again, pivoting to my favorite, not my favorite comedian, but to this comedian that set a whole generation on fire. Like, is there space to share your perspective, to share your feelings, to share your thoughts on any matter that deserves being received? I wonder. What are you guys' thoughts?
Of course, you should be able to share it. You should be able to voice your opinion, and that is it. It is your opinion. And if I don't like it, I don't like it, and I keep it moving. Especially if it doesn't change the price. You know, I like to say that if it doesn't change the price of bread for me, bread gonna cost the same when I go to BJ's next week.
So, Sim, you are saying that we all should have space to articulate and share our thoughts, feelings, and opinions on a matter. What if I have a larger platform than other people? Like, what if I have the opportunity to share my thoughts, feelings, and perspective to the world, and the world has access to that? Do I still have the same freedoms to share my thoughts, feelings, and perspectives on a matter?
You do, you should. However, not everyone sees it the same way. People feel that if your platform is larger, you need to be more cognizant of the words that come out of your mouth. Right? As an educator, I can, if I'm sitting with my friends, I'm chopping it up and I'm like, yo, you know what? College is a money making scheme. And I have that conversation behind closed doors with my friends. That statement holds a very different weight than if I'm standing in front of my 12th grade high school students who are looking to enter the next stage of their life. And I just say, college is a money making scheme. And I give no context to the statement.
Not going to elaborate on that. Not going to explain nothing.
Exactly. Those who already feel my parents don't have the money to send me to college, or I didn't have good grades in high school, and they've been looking at social media where everything is just learn a trade. College is this, college is that. There's going to be some weight to what I'm saying. And they come back and say, well, Miss Simone said this, and that.
Yeah, now it's your fault.
Now it's my fault. I didn't give context to what I'm saying, but I still have a right to what I say.
All right. Vonda, what are your thoughts on this matter? Look, let's keep. This is a talk show back and forth. So take your 50 seconds.
Your right to express yourself is a given. You have the right to say whatever you want to say. However, there are consequences for what you want to say. And I do think that the bigger your platform is, the more that you should be cognizant of the weight of your words or the impact they can have on people, whether it's just verbally or physically. Furthermore, I also believe that if you, as the person speaking, do not have or refuse to exercise the self-control necessary when it comes to your words or being responsible with them, I do believe that the rest of the world or whatever platforms you're speaking on has a responsibility to help you with that. Case in point, Trump got banned off of Twitter. Now, was it 4 years too late? Yes. But eventually, they were like, what he's saying is crazy and it's heavily impacting the world. Like it's just words, but it's not just words. They have a larger impact. They're no longer just words when most of the world is seeing it and reorienting themselves based on those words. Then it's different. It's different if, like, since I'm talking, my boyfriend or my friends, my brother, I'm just, hey, this, that, and the third. I think this is foolish, XYZ. That's between me and them. Cool. Now, if I have a large platform, if I'm a teacher and I go up in front of my class, if I'm giving a speech or somewhere, and I say something ludicrous or out of left field, don't give nothing to back it up. Just saying what I want to say, because hey, yeah, if that's a bigger impact than me just talking crap with my brother. It's largely different as far as I'm concerned.
Now, here's the thing that I find so interesting about what you said is you brought up former President Trump, and
Amen
again, we're
for
just
former.
sharing, huh?
Amen for former.
We're just kind of sharing this idea of like, this platform change responsibility, and you talked about the consequence, and I saw that some places in the chat. He didn't lose his job though, right? He simply was just banned from where he can express.
Not
And that
for
was
lack
the
of
choice.
trying.
But that was the choice in what he said. And also, I add the small caveat: he spoke things as fact that were not fact. He wasn't always trying to just express his feeling.
Right.
So what I think the difference is here is what, like, if somebody's just expressing their feelings, right, their opinions on things. There was a time where our former president was really like trying to say like, this is fact and this happened, and it was wildly like, that's a lie. Right? that's a lie, right? We can honestly prove to you that this is a lie. Does that change again the consequences that are applied to what the person is saying and where?
I think it should. But people be up in their feelings. They're in their feelings about people's feelings. And because I don't like it now, you need to be canceled. Why can't I just say I don't like vanilla ice cream? Like,
because you're wrong and you should know it.
We see it on social media all the time. It's like somebody says, you know what? I'm not a fan of oranges. How could you not be a fan of oranges? Oranges are a great fruit, and you're now against the fruits. Oh my goodness. You know what? We
You
can't
hate
be
Florida.
friends now
That's
because
their
you
chief
do not
export.
like fruits. And you're like, bro, I simply said I don't like oranges.
Okay, so here's my thing. People rarely get canceled, quote unquote, because I don't think I've ever seen an example of cancel culture actually like working the way that people seem to think it does.
Yo, a whole T-shirt wasn't printed from H&M because
what, the monkey?
Yeah,
they were wrong. H&M is still alive and well, though. The shirt didn't make it, but it's not like H&M shut
but that's
down.
cancel culture at work, right? That is legit cancel culture at work.
It is.
I said the way that I think people think it works, because the way people talk about cancel culture, it's like, okay, if I don't like this shirt that H&M made, the whole thing got to come down. That's not how things go. But also, what I was saying was, people very, very, very rarely, in any seriousness, get quote unquote canceled for things as small as I don't like oranges. I don't care if you don't like oranges. Where you get canceled is when you start disagreeing with the fact that people are like the way they are. Like, I don't care if you don't like my shirt. I don't care if you think the pants I'm wearing are ugly. But if you're talking at large about a group of people and your thing is they should not be able to do XYZ, they should not be able to do that, maybe keep that in your head, especially when you have that big, large platform, because yes, it might be your opinion, but, and I am not, this is the first time in my life I'm on the other side of this argument. What? I am not saying that as the person saying it, you are responsible for what everybody that, where they take it and run off with. I say I don't like oranges and you go off into the store and start flipping orange tables over. That's not my fault. However, you should be cognizant of the fact that that is a possibility, of the fact that the larger you are, the more that people will take your opinion as a fact.
Now, here's the thing. What you
I know people that if Beyonce said the sky was purple,
They might rock
would
with it.
beat you up and down Broadway, arguing with you that the sky was purple.
Hold up, cause we got a couple of comments in the chat. Definitely want to give people who are engaging with us the opportunity to know that we are seeing and reading. So voice in the sky. Let's pop some of these up and see what people are saying. At Cynthia Werner says, like, there are those who are being led astray by false teachings. The Bible says that there will be a false prophets, but how sad it'll be for the leaders. And this is so true, right? This is, for those of my scholars, you understand that the popularity of misinformation being proliferated, one of my favorite new words, is like a sign of the end times. Proliferated. I love it. It's just, it sounds so like
word of the day.
Yeah. I was just about to say that must be Webster's word of the day.
It, like, that's a sign of the end times. At SS says there is definitely a point where you can say this is just my opinion, but when you are in certain positions, people take what you say as fact without vetting the statement, especially as president. So that refers to our previous comment before. And there is one. There you go, Steph. Voice in the sky. People are being led astray because they don't study for themselves and they believe everything coming off the pulpit or any other platform. Also very true. Voice in the sky. There was another one that talked about the disagreement. See if you get it. One second. There we go. People are easily reoriented if they aren't confident on where they stand on a particular topic. Additionally, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I'm against you. I kind of want to jump back in here on this because I do believe, yeah, you both got to go to what you, a lot of what you were saying, because in the case of the comedian, what I think is so interesting about the comedian is like, I don't think they run away from the responsibility of what their comments may influence. Right? I think that comedian has been tried to be canceled before because they were willing to say, like, this is how I feel, this is how I express myself. If you don't like it, don't watch me. And there are people that still do because they're okay with it, or people do because they want to kind of like be the voice of the other side. But what I enjoy and what I guess I'm not saying is, I think you have a right to express. I also believe that you have a right to be held accountable for the influences of your expression. But if you're okay with that, I can't say nothing to you, Chief. Right? Like, that's your platform. You know what I'm saying? And so if you walk up on a stage and you're conscious of that, whatever stage, whatever platform you have, and you say, yo, every orange up here in Walmart is stank and is dirty. And as a result, Walmart loses profits, and then Walmart sues you, but you knew that going in. That's your right. You get what I'm saying? That's your opinion. I disagree with you. I think Walmart's origins aren't that terrible. This is purely an example, by the way. But I think that's the piece of thing that we miss is, right, like, people being comfortable with those potential consequences, but them not being what we think they should be. Go ahead, Sim.
And I think that that's what happens is that the comedian, whoever the person is, may be fine with going in saying that there might be some backlash. Like, they understand that. However, the other side is saying it shouldn't be said at all. Like, you have no right to your opinion. You have no right to make this joke. You have no right to say any of these things because it affects me. But jokes are going to affect someone.
That's why they jokes. No one cares about all the mamas out there, right? All the mamas have feelings, and y'all keep talking about them.
The joke is going to get on someone at some point in time. I don't understand. How did your mama show last so long? Why the mama say get up and say I don't like this show?
That's
why. They're saying things about mothers. Why didn't that get canceled? Why didn't that become a thing? Why was that okay? It was jokes, right? They were all just jokes.
Different.
What's the difference?
Because whoever's
your mama's so fat, her belt size is the equator. There's a heavy set mother out there who that offends. Your mama's so skinny when she swallowed a marble, I thought she was pregnant. There is a very slender mother out there whom that offends. Why do we not care about those mothers, cousin? Why
it is not a matter of not caring about those mothers, but the people who are actually participating in the show are the people who count in that instance. If you're watching the show and you participate in the show, you know that we're not talking about nobody's actual mama, okay? People make your mama so fat jokes, whole time their mama disappear if they turn sideways. Like, this is not, like, there is an understanding that is had. Like there is context for it. There's an understanding that is had, and everybody's in on the joke, right? Everybody is everybody's laughing. It's a joke to everybody. If someone is making jokes about me and I'm not laughing, they're not jokes. You're just bullying me.
That's to
No,
you.
you
But that
should not
doesn't
be
mean
allowed to do
somebody
that.
else isn't laughing.
But the jokes are about me. I'm the person that they're about. If I'm not laughing, then it's not a joke. You're just being mean.
But the yo mama joke, if I'm making a joke and I say something about your mama and it happens
It's
to
not
be
about
true and I've
nobody's
never
mama,
seen
though.
her,
It's a
your mama gonna get
hypothetical.
upset.
Vonda,
I've never seen her. It just happens to
the
hit close
statement
to
itself is
home.
directed
Yo
towards
mama
my
joke is
mother.
hypothetical.
If I talk about yo mama, I'm talking about yo mama.
No, you're not, because this is a show and we are just talking hypothetically.
So
Yo
what if it's
mama
on the
is just
playground?
beginning of the joke. It's just the format of the joke. Nobody talking about my actual mama.
But people get upset.
Your actual mama.
But people get upset. You see it all the time.
Okay,
I've
so
seen
if
it happen
I'm
in my
doing a
classroom
joke
when
with you,
kids say something
if
and
I'm
and then one kid gets up and they were like, yo, that one hit a little too close to home, miss. I'm
Then
about to
we
take
stop.
him out.
So here's the thing, right?
we used to do yo mama battles, whatever it is, in elementary. God, I feel old. And if it got to a point, like it was understood that it was lighthearted, just shooting the whatever. If it got to a point where it was like, hey, yo mama XYZ, and it hit somebody, everything dropped.
But
We're
here's
not
the
continuing
thing.
this. The point wasn't to make somebody upset. The point was to laugh.
But yo,
We're
here's
not
the
all
thing,
laughing.
Vonda, with
That's
that.
about it.
But with that, you had two choices there, right? Like you either squared up and went for the person, which is you can do that, or you walked away. But in some cases, you just was like, hey, that was too much. What I'm seeing from the culture now, for them, too much equals you should never say anything ever again. You should
See, you're
apologize.
being dramatic.
And am I really?
Yes.
Am I really?
It's not that you should never speak again. You should not be bullying people.
But bullying it. I gotta be careful what I say about that.
Bullying builds character. Say it.
No.
So there's a comment in the chat. I'm gonna just swing it right here because y'all about to throw fists. So before we got here, I had already said in my head I was gonna make this disclaimer, and I'll make it now. I am only speaking based on what I've heard. I have not seen the comedy special, so I cannot speak to the exact words that were said. So it's just based on what I've heard, and that's it. So I'm putting that out there. That's why I speak very generally, and I can't say the person should have done this, they should have done that, because I don't know exactly what was said. But when it comes to cancel culture on a whole, that's what I speak.
Exactly. Sim, what I'm speaking to is how we respond to when opinions and thoughts go contrary to I don't want to say contrary. Yeah, I'm actually speaking to how we react when individuals who have platform speak on groups or topics or whatever, and how we respond. Now, there's a comment from who was it? Somebody voice in the sky. I think it was something about love. And so, because I want to share two thoughts, I want to share two really separate thoughts. One is my personal thought that I have learned to recognize that people have a right, despite how I feel about the things that come out their mouth, to express themselves. It is a part of my maturity, right? Like I realized that like God gave you a mouth. And so if you can utilize it, like if all of your vocal cords and all the functions of you speaking work, you had a right to speak. Now that may at times mean that you say things that I don't like. That may at times mean that you say things that I don't agree with. You know what? Not only do I think that's okay, but I recognize that I don't either have to connect with you, I don't have to be around you, but I recognize that as being your right. The other thing now, and this is the deeper thing, I do want to be honest because I was getting my cousin about this. This statement is powerful for me because if we are embodying what I do believe is a scriptural understanding of love, there is a way that we speak, and even when we express opinions that may differ, doesn't allow any particular group to feel less than, othered, bullied, or like separate You know what I mean? Like their value doesn't necessarily decrease because your opinion doesn't necessarily match what they think of. That is my honest thought. My cousin's hearing that for the first time because again, I was going in on her thoughts, but not but. With that being said, I think sometimes we have knee-jerk reactions. That's a good sermon, by the way, by Pastor Marquise John. You should Google it. Knee-jerk reaction, really good sermon.
This is an ad break.
Yeah, we have knee-jerk reaction to things, and I'm just like, y'all just as wrong as the person you trying to hush up. Yeah, say something now. Say something now. What you got? What you got? You real quiet.
I forgot what I was gonna
We
say.
have to be careful that in our effort to point out the wrong of another, we aren't doing the exact same thing that the other person did. Right? If we're talking about this person is bullying, their words are bullying, we have to be careful that how we address that individual or that situation, we don't end up being the bully. Because then what's the point? And I'm speaking generally
Exactly.
when I say that.
I'm going to pull up with something that was in our pre-production conversation. If the issue is punching, right? If the issue is actually punching, that's the issue that we have. If you get punched, that's wrong, right? Because the issue is punching. If you punch back, that is also wrong. If
I'm defending myself. I must stand here and let you beat me down.
But if the issue is punching, notice I was very clear. I try to have very clear and structured conversations with you.
I'm about to structure my.
If the issue is punching, I'm just saying if that's what we have the issue with, then no matter when it's done, it should be wrong. The thing is, what I try to point out to you and to our audience, I wonder if they feel about this, is that
punching is fine in certain instances.
And so therefore, someone can always create a circumstance and context that makes it right.
Therefore, if something is a joke, it should just be seen as comedy and done.
No. If so, I'm gonna use your mama jokes and then I'm gonna use just jokes in general. Your mama jokes is a boxing ring. Me and you were in this ring. We both have on gloves. We are punching each other consensually. We both decided to be here. This is what we're doing, which is totally different from me walking down the street and you cold clocking me. You're wrong. We're not boxing anymore. That's abuse, and I'm calling the police. You're not gonna tell me that it's the same thing as but we were punching before and it was fine. Yeah, because we were in the arena for that. Now we out on the street. I just wanted to go get some lunch. Why are you like this?
You want from me? Because what I'm saying is, I think your example of what you shared is why the issue really isn't punching, right? It's how it makes people feel. And I was always trying to pivot and lead this conversation with you and the community at large is that we really got to understand what our issue is with, and then why. Our issue is how the comments shared by some make other people feel. That's really the issue, right? Like it's not even the platform. It's just it makes certain people feel a certain type of way. If that's the issue, then I can understand that.
The second part of that issue for me is yes, the issue is that people are making certain comments that make other people feel away. The second part of that for me is that there are people okay with this person demeaning this other person and being like, oh, this is fine.
But okay is relative, because my thing is what I'm saying.
I said for me, that's the second part of that issue for me, which is past that first person making a comment that hurts the second person, is a third person that's okay with the first person's comments. Like, well, that also to me is an issue.
Define okay, by the way. Like, how are you saying the person is like?
They're okay with it. They're letting it slide. They're like, well, you're not trying to defend the other person. You're not telling them that, hey, that's, even if it's your opinion, that's something you shouldn't be saying to people. Like, none of that. You're okay. Like, I feel as if once we got out of elementary school, the entire world got this feeling of, well, it'll be fine. I could not look at my preschool class and, little Timmy comes up to me and goes, Johnny called me ugly, or Johnny punched me in my face.
Are you ugly? And that's the first question I'm asking. Are you ugly? Then don't listen to Johnny.
but you can't leave it that way. You have to do something about it. You can't just be like, oh, okay, well, don't listen to him.
You have clearly not seen me in schools, because that is, I don't even go back.
I haven't.
I don't even go back to your
The second part of reassuring this child of, because I guess that's how I do reassurance too. Are you actually ugly? Do you think you're ugly? No, you're fine. The second part of that is going to, which one called him ugly? Johnny?
Johnny.
Going to Johnny and being like, that's not okay.
But you're silencing Johnny's right. What if Johnny really feels like homeboy is ugly?
That you feel that he is ugly is between you and God. However, there are certain things that you keep that in your heart. You know, you keep that to yourself. You know why? Compassion. That's why. We don't want to go out of our way to hurt other people's feelings. So you can go home to your mama and tell her that you think Timmy is ugly. You think he got buck tooth and cross eyes and his glasses are so thick that you could throw them and they bounce and not break. You keep that.
Someone out there whose name is Timmy is offended now. I think you should be canceled. That's what I'm saying.
And opinions don't matter. So let's go back, because our time is running. I'm gonna bring these two cousins back back to the center of our main topic, which is reorient. This, I think, has been a very enlightening conversation, because it really shows how the things that we pay attention to, the things that we spend our time on, whether it's social media, it's people, it's entertainers, it's work, it's school, what it is that we choose to engage in on a regular basis or engage with, and where we're spending our time, really can affect how we reorient ourselves during a time of rest. And if we're not careful, that rest that we are aiming for, that we are trying to accomplish, can easily become unrest.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 What are you rocking with before we hit with the connection? We got a few minutes. Vondell. You be sharing all this energy to go against stuff, but don't got nothing to give people, huh?
I'm so confused. How did we get here?
Just because it's me and I want to be aggressive for no reason.
Clearly. Recommend therapy, some ice cream. I think you should go for a walk. Have you gotten a hug today? I also recommend a hug. Hugs are good.
What are your thoughts on reorient, right? What are some things that you hope people will walk away with when it comes to this idea of like how to reorient?
Be careful who you base your reorientation on, and what you base it on and why you're reorienting. Because there's a difference between, I'm going to reorient just because this person said it. And this person said something which made me start to think. You know, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm second guessing I'm going to go look into it, do some actual research. That is not just a Google search. And do some things and come back and say, all right, maybe, do I really need to reorient myself? Maybe I'm fine. But yeah, you know, be careful what you're basing your reorientation on, why you're doing it, and pay attention to what your original base is. If your original base is sand, everything is going to reorient you, whether you want it to or not. So
that gave me a nice scripture to go off of. All right, y'all. Thank you for the time. We're about to run the connection. Appreciate y'all. Oh, I definitely caught the voice in the sky off guard. So what's up, y'all? This is the connection, and you've heard some of the thoughts from at Sempeti and at Vondell. And I think Vondell led us something for me to build this off of. The scripture says, a wise man builds his house on the rock, and a foolish man builds his house on the sand. When it comes to our beliefs and our faith, I think there's nothing more sure than Jesus Christ, in all honesty. If Jesus Christ is your compass north, I think you're always going to be going in a fairly good direction. And sometimes we get caught off guard. Sometimes we see things put in our direction that make us think, but always ask yourself, is this taking you further away from or towards your compass north, which is Christ? And I think that's something for us to really consider. Reorientation sometimes happens in life and is needed because so many things occur. And I just wanted to ground us all in that. As we continue to find rest, we're building up this year into our season. We have some amazing topics for you. Again, I want to prep everybody now. Our November topic, I think, is going to be amazing, 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 amazing. In order for you to do that, though, in the chat, you're going to see a sermon title. Please Google it. Or I'm sorry, put it in YouTube, my fault. Watch this sermon before our November series. You're going to want to have this background information. There are 3 parts. It's Our Fault by Dr. Wesley Knight. Please, 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 please. You want to send this out to your friends, to family members, and get them to watch our show as well as watching that sermon, because we're going to dive deep into it. Also, tomorrow at 7. I think we do 7, right?
7.
Tomorrow at 7, we have our Sunday dinners. And really, Sunday dinners are just a way for us to connect, still in the pandemic, virtually. Bring your own plate, bring your own dish, and we talk about everything, y'all. Like, we understand that our lives intersect in so many different ways. So I know Grey's Anatomy started for some people. That's exciting. I know some people are excited about some of the things that are happening from the sports world. Some people are excited about what's happening in their personal lives. We just want to chat and chop it up with you guys for about an hour or so. So please bring your dish, bring something that you want to eat, and let's talk on Sunday dinners. Ooh, the link. I wonder if I can do that. Small error that I just pointed out. We got to give you guys that link. If you're familiar with us, the link is our Bible study, which you should join on Fridays at 8 p.m. Right now, we'll be changing soon. Fridays at 8 p.m. We also have a Bible study. We also chop it up there about topics that impact our lives. Last night was amazing, led out by Metropolitan's associate pastor, Pastor Juwan Sanders, or Pastor Juju, as I like to call him. So we have so much for you. We got a lot of things. We got a lot of things coming up, and I hope that you all will stick with us as we continue through our season 2 of the show. How can I get into the Friday night Bible study? Donna Phillips, hold up.
That is $10. We have a Cash App that we put on the screen.
I will put it inside the YouTube chat, the link to our Zoom. Oh, I can't do that. Donna, if you give me your email, I'll email you directly the link so you can have that as well. And anyone else who's interested, if you put your, that's also not safe, right, for YouTube?
Probably not.
No, but just throw up the Zoom, the ID, and then they could just copy it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know if we have a slate for that. Y'all, this show has a lot of different things. We got to figure it out. I will get the information to you somehow. Oh, metrosda.org/connect. No, /connect. On Fridays, all of the links are there. I should actually say that's a good one. metrosda.org /connect will be there. Also, if you want to continue to see this ministry and those like it go out well beyond just this space, you can also go to metrosda.org/give and look for F.L.O.W. Just so you guys know, we believe that everyone's voice matters. We believe that if you come in contact with Christ, that's all you need. We try not to get in the way. We believe that your life is valid for the way it is. And so if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you have content that you want to share, connect with me, connect with us, because we are trying to change the way ministry is done in this age, because I think Jesus is dope. Somebody give me that t-shirt. So anyway, that's it, right? Appreciate y'all. We're at our time. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week for the final part of this series.
Yeah. Reset.
All right. See you guys next week, 4:30.
Later, fam.